Wherever you go, they go. You move to the kitchen, they follow. You sit on the floor, they crawl into your lap. You stand up, they pull themselves up and toddle after you. You are their sun, and they are in permanent orbit. And some days, it is the most adorable thing you have ever seen. And other days, you would give almost anything to walk from one room to another without a small person attached to your leg. But here is the question nobody asks. Why? Not, why are babies clingy? That's the wrong question, and it leads to the wrong answers. The real question is, what is your baby's brain actually doing when it follows you? What is the developmental machinery running underneath what looks like simple attachment? Because there is something happening in those moments, something researchers spent decades trying to understand, that most parents never hear about. And once you understand it, the following stops feeling like a problem to manage and starts feeling like something to pay attention to. Something that tells you, in real time, exactly where your baby's development is and what they need from you right now. This applies from around 8 months, when most babies begin to crawl, through roughly 3 years old. But if your child is older or younger, stay with this, because the mechanism behind following behavior starts earlier than crawling and echoes forward into childhood and beyond. Let's start with the one that changes everything. 1. They are not following you. They are using you. This sounds harsh. It isn't. It is one of the most beautiful things developmental psychology has ever documented. In 1969, British psychiatrist and psychoanalyst John Bowlby published what would become one of the most influential theories in the history of child development, attachment theory. And at the centre of that theory was a concept that Bowlby called the secure base. Here is what it means. A baby who feels securely attached to their caregiver does not spend all their time pressed against that caregiver. They use the caregiver as a base, a point of safety to venture out from and to return to. They crawl away, explore something, look back to check you're there, and then go further. Or they hit something frightening or unfamiliar, retreat to you, re-regulate, and try again. The following behavior you see every day is not the baby refusing to leave you. It is the baby maintaining the conditions under which exploration is possible. They follow you not because they cannot be without you, but because keeping you within range is what allows them to engage with the world safely. Mary Ainsworth, who extended Bowlby's work through her famous strange situation experiments in the 1970s, demonstrated this with striking clarity. Securely attached babies, the ones with the healthiest developmental outcomes, were not the ones who clung to their mothers most intensely. They were the ones who moved away most confidently, checked back most readily, and returned most easily when stressed. The following and the exploring were two sides of the same coin. You cannot have one without the other. What this means in practice is something worth sitting with. When your baby follows you everywhere, they are not demonstrating dependence. They are demonstrating the conditions that make independence possible. The orbit around you is what allows them to eventually move away from you. And the confidence with which they eventually move away is built, brick by brick, in every moment you are reliably there when they look back. 2. Your body is a map of the world. Your baby is learning, right now, at a rate that will never be matched again in their entire life. In the first 3 years, more neural connections form than at any other period of human development, and a significant portion of that learning happens not through direct exploration, but through something researchers call observational learning, watching you. When your baby follows you, they are not just staying close, they are studying you, your face, your reactions, your body language, your responses to the world around you. You are, to your baby's developing brain, a real-time map of what everything means. There is a name for this in developmental psychology: social referencing. It is the behavior of looking to a caregiver's emotional response as information about how to interpret an ambiguous situation. Your baby crawls towards something unfamiliar, a new object, a new person, a new environment, and before they engage with it, they look at you. If your face is relaxed and open, they proceed. If your face is tense or alarmed, they pull back. They are using your emotional response as a guide to a world they do not yet have the experience to interpret on their own. Research from the visual cliff experiments, a classic series of studies from the 1960s in which infants were placed on a transparent surface over a perceived drop, demonstrated social referencing with remarkable clarity. When mothers on the other side of the cliff showed fearful expressions, almost no infants crossed. When mothers showed happy, encouraging expressions, the vast majority crossed. The baby's behavior was determined almost entirely by the caregiver's face. This is why following you is not just about proximity, it is about access to information. Your baby needs to be close enough to read your face, to monitor your reactions, to use you as the interpretive framework through which the world makes sense. Every time they follow you into a new room, they are bringing their map reader with them, and this means something important. The face you show your baby as you move through your day, the expression you carry when you're tired or stressed or frustrated with something that has nothing to do with them, is being read constantly, and it is shaping how they understand the world. Not to make you perform happiness you don't feel, but to understand the weight of what your presence communicates, and to be intentional about it when you can. 3. They are downloading everything you do. There is a type of neuron in the human brain that researchers stumbled upon in the 1990s while studying monkeys, and whose discovery changed our understanding of how learning works. Mirror neurons. Cells that fire both when an animal performs an action and when it watches another animal perform the same action. Neurons that, quite literally, mirror observed behavior. In human infants, the mirror neuron system is one of the most active and rapidly developing neural systems in the first years of life. And what it means in practical terms is this. Your baby, following you around the house, is not passively witnessing your life. They are running a simulation of it. Every time you pick something up, put something down, open a drawer, wash your hands, carry something from one room to another, their mirror neurons fire as if they were doing it themselves. They are rehearsing your movements. They are building the motor patterns, the sequences, the understanding of how objects work, and how people navigate the physical world. This is imitation learning, and it is the primary mechanism through which human infants acquire the vast majority of their early skills. Not through being taught, through watching and internally rehearsing. A landmark study from developmental psychologist Andrew Meltzoff found that infants as young as 14 months would imitate actions they had observed up to a week earlier, demonstrating that observational learning in infancy involves not just immediate copying, but active storage and retrieval of observed behavior. Your baby is not just watching, they are saving. What this means is that following you is educational. Every room you walk into, they walk into with you, and their brain is running the footage. Every task you complete in their presence is a lesson their mirror neurons are already encoding. You are, whether you think of yourself this way or not, your baby's primary curriculum, and they are following you because proximity to you is the same thing as access to learning. 4. Your smell is part of why. This one surprises most parents. Because we tend to think of following as a visual and motor behavior. They see you move, they follow. But a significant part of what anchors your baby to you and drives them to maintain proximity is something much more primal than vision: your smell. Human infants can identify their mother's scent within days of birth, not weeks, days. Research published in the journal Chemical Senses found that newborns showed clear preferential orientation toward their mother's breast pad over an unfamiliar woman's breast pad as early as 2 days old. The olfactory system, the sense of smell, is one of the most developmentally advanced systems at birth, and it plays a role in attachment formation that most parenting resources never mention. As your baby develops and begins to follow you physically, scent remains a continuous undercurrent of that behavior. Your smell is part of what makes your presence regulating, part of what tells your baby's nervous system that the safe person is nearby, and part of what creates the subtle pull that brings them back toward you, even when they have wandered a few feet away. This is why babies who sleep in their parents' clothing, or who are given a worn t-shirt in the absence of the parent, show lower cortisol levels than babies without that olfactory anchor. Your physical presence is the strongest version of this signal, but your scent carries a version of it even when you have just left the room. When your baby follows you from room to room, they are following everything about you: the visual information of your body moving through space, the auditory anchor of your voice and your sounds, and the olfactory thread that ties them to you even across a room. Proximity is not one thing, it is a full sensory experience, and following you is your baby's way of keeping all of it in range. And hey, if this is changing how you think about those ordinary moments of being followed around your own house, hit like and subscribe, because the next part is the one most parents find most surprising. 5. The following is measuring something. Here is the thing about following behavior that researchers noticed when they looked at it carefully. It is not constant, it fluctuates. There are days when your baby seems glued to you, barely willing to let you out of arm's reach. And there are days, or moments, when they wander further, explore more independently, seem less urgently in need of your presence. Most parents assume this fluctuation is random or mood-based. It isn't. Following behavior intensity is a real-time measure of your baby's felt security. When they feel safe, regulated, and confident in your availability, they venture further. When something has shifted, a disruption to routine, an illness, an unfamiliar environment, a period of developmental leap when the brain is working harder than usual, they pull in closer. The orbit tightens. Developmental psychologists call this the distance regulation system. Your baby is continuously, unconsciously calibrating how close they need to be to you based on their current assessment of how safe the world is and how reliably available you are. Close following is not a sign that something is wrong. It is a sign that their system is working, that they are accurately reading the conditions around them and adjusting their proximity accordingly. Research from the Minnesota longitudinal study found that periods of increased clingy following behavior in toddlers corresponded significantly with developmental leaps. Periods of accelerated brain development when the system is under higher cognitive load and needs more external regulation. The baby who follows you relentlessly during a developmental leap is not regressing. They are managing the demands of a brain that is growing very fast by drawing more heavily on the external regulator that helps keep it stable. When you understand this, the clingy phase stops feeling like a setback and starts feeling like information. Your baby is telling you something. They are telling you that right now they need more of you. Not forever, just right now. And responding to that, with presence rather than frustration, with availability rather than distance, is the thing that allows the developmental leap to complete and the independence to return. 6. What happens in their brain when they can't follow you? We have talked about what following does for your baby. Now we need to talk about what happens when the following is blocked. When you leave and they cannot come. When the door closes or the gate is up, or you disappear and they cannot maintain proximity. Because this is where the developmental stakes become most visible. When a baby is separated from their primary caregiver, when the following behavior is interrupted and they cannot regain proximity, their stress response system activates. Cortisol rises. Heart rate elevates. The nervous system shifts from the calm, exploratory state that supports learning into an alert state oriented toward one thing: finding you. This is not a behavior problem, it is biology. The same evolutionary mechanism that kept human infants close to their caregivers and therefore safe from predators, from exposure, from the 1,000 dangers of early human life, is running in your baby right now. The distress of separation is not irrational. It is the appropriate response of a nervous system that is correctly calibrated to understand that proximity to caregiver equals survival. Research from the field of developmental neuroscience shows that when separation distress is handled responsively, when the caregiver returns, reconnects, and helps the baby re-regulate, the cortisol spike resolves quickly and cleanly. The nervous system learns what it is trying to learn, that separation is temporary, that you always come back, that distress is survivable and ends with reunion. When separation distress is handled dismissively, when the baby's signals are ignored or responded to with frustration, the cortisol stays elevated longer. The nervous system does not get the corrective experience it needs, and over time, repeated unresolved separation distress shapes the stress response system in ways that carry forward, into anxiety, into difficulty with transitions, into the hypervigilant following behavior that never quite relaxes because it never quite learned that it was safe to. The way you handle the moments when your baby cannot follow you is, in a very real sense, teaching their nervous system what to expect from the world. Responsive reunion teaches them that separation ends, that you come back, that distress is temporary, that they can trust the reliability of your return. That trust is not built in a single moment. It is built across hundreds of them, across every gate and every closed door and every "I'll be right back" that you follow through on. And it is the foundation of the independence that eventually replaces the following, not because the baby stopped needing you, but because they learned, deeply enough to feel it in their bones, that you are always there when they need you, which means they don't need to follow you quite so urgently anymore. The baby following you everywhere is not a phase to get through. It is a window into one of the most remarkable processes in human development, a brain learning what it means to be safe, to explore, to trust, to eventually stand on its own. Every time they follow you, they are using you as a secure base. Every time they look back to check you're there, they are social referencing, reading your face for information about the world. Every time they toddle after you into the kitchen, their mirror neurons are running, Their olfactory anchors are active. Their distance regulation system is calibrating. It looks like following. It is, in the deepest sense, learning. And the thing they are learning, more than object permanence, more than motor coordination, more than anything else, is whether the world is a place where the people you need are reliably there. Be there. Let them follow. The independence comes, it always comes, but it comes faster and it comes more solidly for the children who are followed by parents who understood what the following was for. Subscribe to Mindful Parenting. We'll be here every week.